Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're checking out How Soon Is Now, the B-side that defined the Smiths. New British Canon.
Is it true that you spent 3 months secluded in your bedroom as a teenager?
Much more than that, I'm sure, but I do distinctly remember one period where I hardly ever left the room for a 3-month period. I wasn't exactly your average teenager.
Whoa, 3 months? Yo, even during COVID, I didn't stay in one room for 3 months. I walked outside. 3 months? He must have left the room. Someone would have called child services on his parents if he didn't leave the room, right?
The Smiths were one of the most important bands of the 80s, fronted by a celibate crooner in love with Oscar Wilde and the New York Dolls, with their music composed by a teenaged Birds obsessive. They were at odds with the music of the time. Rocky 1983, at least in the UK charts, was a rarity. The mainstream public more enamored by new romantics and synth pop. But if you hated the slickness of Spandau Ballet and the fabricated sounds of the Human League, to see Morrissey flouting around with some gladioli on top of the pops, with Johnny Marr's jangling Rickenbacker backing him up, it was a eureka moment. They weren't like other bands, and that was the point. Focusing on teenage themes of love, loneliness, and identity, their catalogue is filled with anthems for the left of centre. The Smiths were outsiders and made music for people like themselves. Over the course of only 5 years, the Smiths released 4 untouchable studio albums and inspired a generation of teenagers.
Wow.
But their prolific output's quality was not constrained to their LPs. Even their B-sides were on par with their best work.
Nice.
B-sides were important in the UK.
Hang on.
Now,
Yeah, I don't know much about the Smiths. I think I just learned about them because I think I became more familiar with Morrissey and then later learned that he was once in the Smiths. You know what I mean? I think in the 90s, did Morrissey come out with something? Southpaw Grammar, Maladjusted. Okay. Yeah, I guess I've heard about him from Southpaw Grammar and Maladjusted, and that was my point of reference for him. I love that they were influenced by stuff that most people at the time were considering uncool. You know, the Byrds in the early 80s, that'd probably be like, the Byrds. Dorky, but they did it. They used it. And the guitar player, what's his name? Johnny Marr. I feel like I should know that. But he's playing a jangly Rickenbacker, probably a 12-string. You know, that was a huge Byrds thing. I wouldn't imagine that'd be very popular in the early 80s. Or it would be very different from what was going on at the time. That's interesting. Now, Spandau Ballet, I've never heard of. So let me look that up. What's their deal? English pop band formed in London. I want to listen to them. Let me just check out their music so I have a reference for what they're talking about. What? That's them? No. This is a cover? I know this song. Wow. Is this really the one? Is this a cover? Okay. I remember that song. I remember when it was all over the radio. Okay. They're British. Okay. Spandau Ballet. Okay. If you hated the slickness of Spandau Ballet and the fabricated sounds of the Human League, okay. They do sound like Human League. I mean, Spandau Ballet sounds like Human League. Okay.
generation
I'm on
of
track.
teenagers. But their prolific output's quality was not constrained to their LPs. Even their B-sides were on par with their best work. B-sides were important in the UK. Now with streaming, not so much. But buying singles used to be the only way to measure chart success. Those extra tracks on a single needed to be high quality to persuade the consumer to buy something that is extremely poor value for money compared to an album. Because of this, any classic British band has their fair share of stellar B-sides.
Yeah, Revolution was a B-side of Hey Jude. That's interesting, yeah. I remember, I used to be a huge Metallica fan, and Metallica used to put out on their single CDs, which the B-sides of the CD would have another song, maybe a cover song of some classic heavy metal song, and then sometimes they'd put the demo of the song on the A side. So you'd hear their home demo of it, or you'd hear some alternate mix of it. And I really love that. It made it feel worth getting the single, because a lot of the singles were on the albums too. Like, why get it unless there's value in it? See what he's saying. And then some bands, Smashing Pumpkins comes to mind, The Killers, they'll take all their B-sides and put them on its own album. So after a few albums worth of B-sides, you'd have a whole album worth of B-sides. It was really cool. It was like for the uber fan, super fans of the band, they get extra stuff. It's kind of fun. I loved it. I don't think it's a thing anymore.
Any classic British band has their fair share of stellar B-sides.
But when you talk about destruction, now Elvis Beatles on a Rolling Stone. Not today. I wanna talk tonight.
Okay.
Bigger boys and stolen sweethearts. Oh, you're better off without it anyway.
And the Smiths were no different. Right out of the gate, their first single, Handing Love, features the equally jangly and equally awesome Handsome Devil. Later notable
Wow. Okay. That definitely does sound different from Spandau Ballet and Human League. Much more punky, rock, earthy, organic. You can hear the room around the drums, which gives it a raw feel. I like it. Very similar to The Clash, I would say.
Later notable B-sides include the achingly pretty Please 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 Let Me Get What I Want, punkish thrasher Sweet and Tender Hooligan,
You said that you'll never do it again, and of course you won't. Not until the next time.
and the unremittingly dark song that Charlie is obsessed with in Perks of Being a Wallflower, Asleep.
Sing me to sleep. I don't want to wake up on my own.
But the
Y'all, so I guess last week I reacted to a video about the Libertines, who I'd never listened to before. I had only heard about it because of Pete Doherty's problems. But I've been listening to the Libertines lately, and one of those songs sounded like a Libertine song. I noticed with the Libertines, the vocals sound like they're talking to me. They are singing, but there's a lot of lyrics, and they're delivered in more of a talking way. It's like they're talking on pitch, which is great. It feels, I don't know how to describe it, but you know how whenever you watch something like The Voice, that show, or American Idol, or I'm sure Britain's Got Talent is similar, but everyone sings like they're on Broadway. It's like this presentational, like there's a style of it. I feel like the Libertines' vocals are the opposite of that, where they're not doing that. They're singing in pitch and they're telling a story about this and that and whatever happened to them that day. Da-da-da. It's like that. And that Smith song sounded like they were doing that as well. I hear the Smiths and the Libertines for sure now. This, Sweet and Tender Hooligan, that sounds like a Libertine song, doesn't it?
But the Smiths' most defining B-side was first only available as a bonus track on the 12-inch release of William, It Was Really Nothing. How Soon Is Now.
Oh! Y'all, I know this song. I've heard it. Where have I heard it? That meh. I have heard that. I think in a commercial, maybe? Where have I heard that? A TV show? Was it on a car commercial? How Soon Is Now ad placement. Pepe Jeans. Gordon's Gin. Okay, it looks like it's been used for several things. Ooh, this is interesting. How did the Smiths achieve the guitar sound in How Soon Is Now? That's an interesting question, because it is a very distinct sound. Here's Johnny Marr's answer to that very question. Yeah, the tremolo sound from the intro, that was 4 Fender Twin reverbs. That's a guitar amp, so there's 4 of them. Myself controlling the speed of 2 of them, and the producer controlling the speed of the other 2. Does he mean speed as in the tremolo, I guess? That makes it go like, I can't even do it with my voice, right? But so 2 amps were recorded on one side of the stereo and the other 2 on the other side. I recorded the part on the tape without the tremolo, and then I sent the part from tape out to 4 amps, and he controlled 2 and I controlled the other 2. And it took a long time because inevitably the tremolo would go out of time with the track because the tremolo doesn't stay in regular clock time. Also, we would go out with each other's amps, so we had to keep looking up at each other after every 15 seconds burst and kind of fess up, oh yeah, mine kind of went out of time. It took a long time, but I'm glad we did it that way, because if we had cut and pasted 2 seconds of audio, it wouldn't have had the same dynamic quality throughout the 6 minutes of the song, or however long it is. All right, wow. Yeah, I feel like that's a secret move for recording guitar, is reamping. A lot of novice engineers don't really understand that, but you can record a guitar, the DI of it, the sound of the guitar, straight from the guitar, record that on the tape, and then send that later on out to other stuff like other guitar amps, re-record the amp in a place where there's no drums or other stuff going on, so you get the isolation or you add effects. It's a very useful technique, and it looks like they did that. That's a distinctive sound. I have heard that. I have heard that.
Is now.
Oh. Okay, I hear it now. It's going wah 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 wah. Wow, they had to do that for the whole song.
Seymour Stein of Sire Records famously stated that How Soon Is Now is the Stairway to Heaven of the 80s.
Really?
Both are epic experimental tracks intrinsically tied to their respective decades. Smith's biographer Simon Goddard counters this comparison. Completely wrong. Stairway to Heaven is a clumpy and pernickety folk rock ballad. How Soon Is Now is, in essence, a club record. If anything, it's the I Feel Love of the 80s, or more literally, I Want to Feel Love. Led Zeppelin are a great band.
Okay. What does he mean, I feel love? Who's that? Donna Summer. Okay. Let's just listen to a bit of that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's a Stairway to Heaven. I mean, I can't say I've even listened to the whole song, How Soon Is Now.
Club record. If anything, it's the I Feel Love of the 80s, or more literally, I Want to Feel Love. Led Zeppelin are a great band, no doubt, but you don't want to unload Stairway to Heaven midway through a DJ set. One of the aspects of the Smiths that was contemporaneously noted on, but in hindsight somewhat forgotten, was their musical magpieism. Taking bits and pieces from elsewhere, referencing, refreshing, and remixing them, and placing them within the patchwork of their music.
Good artists copy, great artists steal. Picasso said it, so you know it's true.
Referencing, refreshing, and remixing them, and placing them within the patchwork of their music. Morrissey was the main offender, pinching from English literature, film, and classic pop alike, and infusing it with Smith's energy. Notable examples include the line from This Charming Man,
A jumped up country boy who never knew his place.
which is taken from the Laurence Olivier, Michael Caine film, Sleuth.
A jumped-up country boy who doesn't know his place.
Or how Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now is a play on an obscure Sandy Shaw song.
Heaven knows I'm missing him now.
69?
Or key lyrics from
That's from 1969? Black and white in 1969? I think that's great. I love when artists do that because it loads up those lyrics with more meaning, you know?
Or that key lyrics from There Is a Light That Never Goes Out are inspired by lines from the films Saturday Night and Sunday Morning.
Why don't you ever take me where it's lively and there's plenty of people?
Cause I want to see people and I want to see light.
And the New York Dolls song Lonely Planet Boy.
You're out and driving in your car. Driving in your car. Down by my home. When you know I ain't got one. I never wanted to go home.
It's different enough.
Criticising the press for ripping people off, Morrissey sarcastically countered this on the Queen is Dead track, Cemetery Gates.
That was not a rip-off. That was a reference, I would say.
Morrissey sarcastically countered this on the Queen is Dead track, Cemetery Gates.
You must like pros and cons, the words you use to be around. Don't plagiarize or take on loan.
How Soon Is Now also has Morrissey's pointed plagiarisms present.
Plagiarism.
Its title.
Hang on. Is that how British people pronounce that word? Plagiarism? We say plagiarism. Hang on. Going off on a tangent.
Plagiarism.
Okay. Oh, American pronunciation. British pronunciation.
Plagiarism.
See,
Plagiarism.
yeah, plagiarism. That's the British pronunciation.
Plagiarism.
Plagiarism. American. Plagiarism.
Plagiarism.
Plagiarism. Interesting. Maybe that's a regional dialect.
Is Now also has Morrissey's pointed plagiarisms present. Its title is taken from a question asked in feminist film essay Popcorn Venus, Women, Movies and the American Dream by Marjorie Rosen. Specifically the line, how immediately can we be gratified? How soon is now? Also, its opening line is adapted from a line from chapter 12 of George Eliot's Middlemarch.
To be born the son of a Middlemarch manufacturer and inevitable heir to nothing in particular.
But the majority of quoting and
brilliant,
outside
though.
influence on this song is done by guitarist Johnny Marr. The initial version of the track, known as Swamp, was inspired by the groove in Run Through the Jungle, originally by Creedence Clearwater Revival, but which Marr knew due to a 1982 cover by LA post-punks The Gun Club.
I like that bass tone.
After Marr created a demo of the track, the band, minus Morrissey, tried to record the thing at Jam Studios in North London. Drummer Mike Joyce remembers the session.
Oh, wait.
Just took all the lights out in the studio and put red bulbs in and got, well, that was it really. How Soon Is Now was never played live in its entirety in the studio.
What studio? Jam Studios? Where's that? North London, apparently. Show me on a map. Jam Studios, London. Permanently closed. Another studio. Lost to time. Happens a lot. People don't need $1 million studio to record anymore. So they're going out of business. But we can at least look at where it used to be. Right there? No? Right there, I guess? Looks like a home. It's near the park. It's near the Faltering Fullback. Is that a pub? Y'all, the British pub names. I love them. The Faltering Fullback. I don't even know what that means. Is that a football position? That's funny. Okay.
The band, minus Morrissey, tried to record the thing at Jam Studios in North London.
Minus him?
Drummer Mike Joyce remembers the session. We just took all the lights out in the studio and put red bulbs in and got, well, that was it really. How Soon Is Now was never played live in its entirety in the studio.
That reminds me of a story. I'm gonna name drop here, y'all. I used to work at a recording studio in New York City called Right Track Recording. Mariah Carey would come there, and when she would come, I would have to get 2 bottles of Cristal and put it in the fridge, 3 flower arrangements, 1 in the live room, 1 in the lounge, and 1 in the control room, an air purifier, an air humidifier, one in the control room, one in the live room, and one in the lounge. So like 3 of each of those things, set them up. And when she would come in, she would request colored bulbs. So I'd have to take out the regular white light bulbs and put in like red or green. Yeah, that was my job. Anyway, I know what he's talking about.
Really. How Soon Is Now was never played live in its entirety in the studio. The version we know being pieced together from various takes from a supposedly very stoned Joyce Marr and bassist Andy Rourke. Producer John Porter recalled, "I told them to play for as long as they needed. They did a good 4 or 5 minutes. I got 2 good takes and cut out the bits that weren't so good, then chopped them together. That's why it ended up as long as it did." Another notable aspect of the song that Marr cribbed was the high-pitched harmonic guitar line that appears on occasion throughout the song. This was in tribute to New York rap pioneer Lovebug Starski and the keyboard riff on his track You Gotta Believe.
Wow.
Marr stated, "I was really excited by that music. I'd heard his records in Manchester, but he was still this pretty obscure hip-hop guy. So that bit in How Soon Is Now is a motif that he used that I thought was unusual and appropriate, so long as it worked," which it did. Arguably the most iconic part of the song is its tremolo effect, that distinctive wobble that sounds like Little Else.
That's what we like now.
This was inspired by several sources, including a rare hit from Krautrockers Can in I Want More, as well as Hamilton Bohannon's Disco Stomp. About the latter, Marr stated,
"And I would just wait for it on the radio. I was obsessed with that. Well, my mates were all into like Hendrix and stuff. I was just all about it. And I was kind of like, that's what a guitar should do."
Marr, from other interviews, has said that the rhythm recalls 1950s guitarist
Bo
Diddley, and specifically the track Mona. Marr.
Bo Diddley. He was a friend of my parents, and my mom worked for a company which helped foster kids, and Bo Diddley used to come to their annual picnic and play. He's a good guy. Gave out free concerts for the children of Florida. Good man. Rest in peace, Bo. Nice guy.
Marr stated in Guitar Player magazine in 1990, "I wanted an intro that was almost as potent as Layla. When that song plays in a club or a pub, everyone knows what it is instantly. How Soon Is Now is certainly one of the most identifiable songs I've done."
Yeah, y'all, I know that intro, and I didn't even know it was from this song. So I think he achieved success with that. Great work, Johnny, Mr. Marr.
So why was How Soon Is Now relegated to B-side status?
Good question.
The blame seems to rest with their label boss, Rough Trade's Jeff Travis. While the band and producer John Porter had tried to push how...
I also want to look up John Porter, because I've not heard of him. I'm curious to know what else he produced. The Smiths, Billy Bragg, The Blades, Micro Disney, School of Fish, B.B. King, Los Lonely Boys, Buddy Guy, Ryan Adams, Missy Higgins, and numerous other bands. Wow. Killing Joke. Lots of Smith stuff. A lot of Smith stuff. Taj Mahal, Otis Rush, The Go-Go's, Keb Mo. I'm name dropping like crazy. When I went to first start work at that recording studio in New York, Keb Mo was making an album there, produced by Russ Titleman. Very talented producer. John Lee Hooker, John Mayall. Wow. Oh my gosh. Ozzy Osbourne, Elvis Costello, Carlos Santana, Stephen Stills, more Keb Mo. I'm surprised I haven't heard of him. It's probably just because his name is so ordinary. I'm sorry, John Porter. You're amazing. You've done great work. I envy your career.
It's Jeff Travis. While the band and producer John Porter had tried to push How Soon Is Now as their next single, Travis didn't understand the track's appeal. Porter recalls, I could tell Jeff didn't like it very much. He kept looking at me constantly, and I could sense him thinking, what the fuck is this? So in the end, they threw it away. Rough Trade shot themselves in the foot.
Yes,
After
they
its
did.
B-side placement on the William It Was Really Nothing 12-inch, the track was included on the Hatful of Hollow compilation, before Rough Trade changed their mind and released it as a castrated 4-minute single edit in January 1985. Because Always Smithdom already had the superior version of the track, the single version only reached number 24 in the UK charts, much to Morrissey's disappointment. By 1994,
24
Travis
still
acknowledged
good.
his blunder. I remember really liking it. I think it took us a few weeks to realize how good it was. Obviously, it came out as a single in its own right later. Maybe you could say we made a mistake not releasing that as the A-side of William It Was Really Nothing. While on tracks like This Charming Man or There Is a Light, the song's messages are surrounded by metaphor and an aching dark English romanticism. How Soon Is Now cuts right to the point. Morrissey plainly states that he is a human that needs to be loved, just like anyone else. Everyone has been here, alone and needing someone. It's references to a shit night out, of going out with the best intentions of having a good time, and meeting that special someone, only to leave all alone, is a universal experience. That is the tale of a night that every introvert has had.
Oh my god.
Wanting to be social, wanting to put yourself out there, but not really knowing how.
Oh my god. I can relate. Y'all, I'm regressing back to middle school dances. Like 6th grade school dances. Oh, how torturous that whole experience was. Oh, weird. Yeah, you don't know what to do. Like, just to go up to a girl and ask her to dance is like, oh, I can't, like, that reveals so much. You're being vulnerable. And when you're that age, especially, being vulnerable is a death sentence. But looking back, gosh, I wish I had the confidence back then that I have now. Not that I'm super confident, but that's a very specific feeling.
Wanting to put yourself out there, but not really knowing how. The lyric that ties into the title the most is, this could be seen as Morrissey trying to hype himself up, to make that move, but losing all confidence before he can. Punk historian John Savage in 1989 stated that How Soon Is Now is specifically evocative of Manchester's gay club scene during the late 70s and early 80s.
Okay.
It captures that experience exactly, except the last line. Home and sleep were never upsetting, but a relief. This is what made a generation of teenagers obsessed with the Smiths. Their music was designed to be poured over, music that was saturated with references. Because Morrissey and Marr were just the same as these introverted teenagers, obsessed and excitedly telling their fans about their favourite things, whether it's Lovebug Starsky or George Eliot. The Smiths were a band to obsess over, that compelled you to listen to everything they wrote, the album tracks and the B-sides, listening over and over in your room, waiting for your awkwardness and lonesomeness to disappear.
Yeah, I mean, their lyrics were so loaded with meaning, and those literary references, I can see why you got to sit with it and to really appreciate it, you know?
But with How Soon Is Now, they wrote a song that not only commiserated with their fans' outsiderness, but was a club record, one that is instantly recognizable as soon as its tremolo rhythm fades in. So when there's a club, if they want to go, where there's music and there's people and they're young and alive, the Smiths would be there to join them, to hold their hand. How Soon Is Now is a dance floor filler for introverts. This is Marr and Morrissey's greatest gift.
Wow.
A defining siren call for the lonely and the criminally shy.
That's me.
Oh my god, they're playing good music.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, why not like, comment and subscribe?
Yeah, y'all, like and
subscribe. If you
subscribe.
really liked it and all the other videos I'm making, maybe consider contributing on Patreon. As always, I'd like to thank my top tier supporters. You're all awesome. In the recent Trash Theory poll, Husker Du beat The Replacements, so you'll be seeing that video in 2 weeks. See you then.
Be sure to go to Trash Theory and like and subscribe. They make all these great documentary videos about music. That song is for me, y'all. I feel it. Wow. You know that feeling? Oh, I'm thinking back to middle school again. When you're at a dance and your crush is there. But, just the thought of going up to them and letting them know or giving them a clue that you have a crush on them is mortifying. Like, just but to be in that time and to know that song and to have poured over the lyrics like they're saying their fans did, I can imagine if I did know this song and I went to my middle school dance and they played that song, probably would have given me more confidence or made me realize that what I'm feeling is normal. Oh my gosh. That's the worst feeling. It sucks so much. It's the worst. Even whenever I hear songs that they used to play at those middle school dances, it takes me back to that feeling. Like, there's a weird melancholy weight to it. Amazing. What a great story. I see why their fans are so dedicated to them now. I did a lot of name dropping in this one and I apologize. But it's weird to not say something, right? I don't know. I just want to be truthful. After watching this and seeing this question, is it true that you spent 3 months secluded in your bedroom as a teenager? I understand why he would have done that. When I think back to those middle school dances and you want to stay in your room. You don't. It's the. That's the way to handle it. I mean, it's probably not healthy, but that's what you want to do in those moments. Oh, you put yourself out there and they didn't reciprocate the feeling, or you got rejected. It's. I don't agree with all the plagiarism stuff they're accusing them of. I think he changed it enough, but left enough of it in as a reference, you know? I just want to listen to the whole song. Wow, it sounds frickin' great. And I totally hear the Libertines in there. I mean, I hear the Smiths in the Libertines is what I'm saying. This was great. Y'all, I love Trash Theory. They're opening my eyes to all this British music I didn't know was there. Be sure to go to Trash Theory and like and subscribe. If you made it this far in the video, give me a like and subscribe. I'd like to thank my patrons. I'd like to thank my Buy Me a Coffee people. And thank y'all for watching this with me. And I'll see you next time. Later.